Hey guys, it is Ashley from theawakenedstate.net. So this week I want to do something a little bit different and talk to you about the process that I just released. It's called the Spring Clean Your Mind 25-Day Challenge. And so this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I just had this random download come to me where I just wanted to touch on mental health and why it's really important. You know, mental health matters, mindset matters. And I think it's really an incredible way to honor mental health as a whole, because personally, mental health should be at the forefront of every month we have. So this month, what I wanted to do was give you a free challenge that you can participate in, a download for a free calendar below. And what it is essentially is a 25-day challenge to help you spring clean your mindset for more growth, raising your vibrations, better health, and most importantly, better mental wellness. And so if you don't know, I recently released an awesome planner all about how you can use your mindset with your goals. And at the forefront of creating this planner was honoring our mental wellness and our emotional wellness. Because often what I've found is when it comes to going after our goals, going after our manifestations, really asking ourselves those bigger questions in life, if we don't do the mindset work and the emotional wellness work, this is what really causes our own self-sabotage. It's when we're allowing ourselves to nurture our mindset and our emotional health that is what propels us forward, because it keeps us not only in check with who we are, but it also keeps us in check with inevitably going after our goals successfully, because it keeps us in a framework where we believe in ourselves and we have that self-belief and that authenticity. So for this week's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the challenge, what you're going to be receiving, and if you want to join, and most importantly, just talk a little bit about mindset shifts and how mindset shifts have personally helped me. So stay tuned. Okay, and we're back. So if you are new here, my name is Ashley and I am the founder of theawakenedstate.net. Please subscribe for weekly videos if you enjoy this talk and enjoy our other videos all about Kundalini awakening, spiritual awakening, energy work, mind-body healing, mindset work, chakras, and all the things. Especially, we love to talk on practical spirituality, no filler. One of the things that's been so revolutionary for me is learning how to pull back the curtain on taking new age jargon and translating it into practical terms. And this is one of my specialties, especially going forward. I'm going to be continuing to shed more light on this in the book I'm writing and also the YouTube videos I'm doing, and just in general with what I've been coming to just know as, I don't know, I guess as you evolve on this journey, there's just deeper layers, and that's just what occurs. And I think it's funny because we can safely say that, like, it's funny. I remember one of my friends said this. He's like, we have to realize that growth is not ever a straight line. It's usually like a spiral. And I don't know why this is coming to me right now, but it must benefit somebody. But when you think about growth, we usually feel it. It's like it's this linear pathway, right? But what actually is occurring is what I've noticed, growth functions more like a spiral. And it's kind of like the more you grow, you start to see from a different level of the staircase than what you were previously seeing. So it's like when you first awaken, maybe you were at like the bottom step of the staircase and it looked so overwhelming to you on the road ahead, navigating this journey. Maybe you felt like ascension symptoms were ruling your life. Maybe it was so overwhelming for you. Maybe you were just like, how do I even cope? How do I even do this? And the more you grow and the more you evolve and the more you heal and the more you start to work on manifesting and healing and going through this growth and redeveloping your relationship to your intuition and your higher self, all this starts to just become easier and easier and easier. And I think it's just like my friend said, it's like you can only see from the level of the staircase that you're at. But you start to see that growth is a spiral. And eventually you start to realize that you can see from the top of the staircase, and that allows your perspective to drastically see all the different steps on the staircase. And I think it's funny because when he first told me that, I'm like, sure, okay, whatever. But now I really get it. Like, it's funny. You can see things as they are, but then the moment that you take on a new perspective, and this is what spiritual growth is all about, is like the more you take on new perspectives, like your relationship to that concept grows your own awareness of how you see it. And so because of that, you now see like shadow work is about healing trauma. And then you start to see that it's like being ungrounded is actually about feeling safe in your nervous system and regulating your nervous system. I didn't have those words 10 years ago, but I do now. And while maybe we're veering a little off topic, like this is important to get in terms of understanding mental health, is like sometimes I do believe, and I've mentioned this a few times recently, is we can mask this new age terminology with real life problems. And it almost is like a form of spiritual bypassing because we're not willing to either say it like it is, or we're not willing to look at the practical side of it. And what I really like to do here is when you think about mental health as a whole, like it's important to see that our mindset is a huge influence on our spiritual awakening journey. Understanding how to navigate the world successfully, understanding how to navigate those negative emotions as they come up, understanding how to navigate like those shifts as they rapidly keep happening in your energetics. And when we start having these like big energetic portals, like the eclipse portal, for example, like it can be so easy to get bogged down and be like, well, it's just Mercury retrograde's fault. And then it's like, but is it? Is it? Or is it just your excuses? So it's kind of about fact checking ourselves here. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is when it comes to mental health, it's important to connect the dots between really honoring where you're at, encouraging yourself, and it's not just about slapping on positive affirmations, but it's also about honoring where you're at and allowing the journey to unfold. And when it comes to looking at this mental health challenge, I want you to consider that growth is not linear. Growth is non-linear. Growth is non-linear. And I think it's so easy for our ego to be like, it's just about step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, but it's really not. And even the way I'm creating this video, like I originally wanted to do this step and this step and this step, but that's not how my brain works, and that's not how the message wants to be displayed out of me. And that's funny because it's more like we have to realize that life is more like a conversation. Your growth is more like a conversation you're having with yourself. And it's more of a relationship you're building with yourself. And I think that's a beautiful way of looking at it, because when we start to look at our mental health from a lens of you're supporting your emotional wellness, you're supporting your own personal growth as a person, you're starting to make more peace with your past, and you're starting to look at life more from a lens of being more kind to yourself, being more forgiving to yourself, enabling more compassion to yourself. And then here's the big one, allowing in more fulfillment for yourself. This changes the game entirely, because you're not like, this is so easy, and I've fallen down this trap so many times, but when you start in the personal development world, you can start to harm your mental health by focusing more on what do I gotta fix? What do I gotta heal? What do I need to release again? What do I need to heal again? What do I gotta clear again? What do I gotta do again? What do I gotta do to get spiritually enlightened? What are the practices I need to have in place to be spiritually enlightened? this trap of like a laundry list of things on how to be enlightened is not really what spirituality is about. So when it comes to spring cleaning your mindset, I invite you to peel back the curtain for yourself and to look at what are the thoughts that aren't serving me. And as you start to do these little exercises, each of these exercises are just designed to help get you back into your body, to be more present, and to shift your mindset. And I think shifting your mindset is really the start of everything. Because if I were to ask myself 10 years ago what really flipped the dial for me, it was literally the things that I learned in the book that I originally released on Amazon, which was It's All About Gratitude. And gratitude literally taught me how to shift my perspective. And that's what it came back to, is shifting my perspective. And I think at the root of real mental health, it's about perspective. It's about choosing to nurture your mindset and your emotional body. It's about choosing to nurture both your emotions as they are, and it's about choosing to nurture your mental health as it is. And I think that was revolutionary for me, is shifting my perspective. Like, one of the things that really shifted my perspective a lot was shifting my perspective around how I saw my anger. And I remember I would be angry about being the fact that I was angry, and then I would beat myself up about being angry, and I wouldn't just let the anger be. And that was actually the problem. It wasn't the anger itself, it was how I was emotionally reacting to the anger, and then it was how I was viewing the anger. So it's like, I actually saw this on an Instagram post, and I was just like, the way they wrote it was like so fucked up, because they're like, it's not about your anger, it's about your trauma about your anger. And it's like, no, that's not what it's about at all. It's about how you are viewing the anger that's the problem. It's your perception of the anger that's the problem. And so the more you can just flip the dial here and see it as, it's not about your negative emotion at all. It's about how you're viewing the negative emotion and emotionally giving that power over you. So you're allowing that negative emotion to have too much power over you. And that power over you from the anger, from the negative emotion, that's what's holding you back. That's what's allowing things to sit. Like, that's the story you're telling yourself that keeps you there. And that's what I think was one of the hardest things to learn, is realizing that it's all just a story. It's all just a story you're telling yourself. And the more you break free from that old story, the more you can start to tell yourself a new story. And that's what Spring Clean Your Mindset is all about. So I know that was a very long-winded way of talking about it, but when you think about spring cleaning your mindset, it's about how can you break free from that old story and start to embrace the new story. And it starts with spring cleaning your current mindset. What do you need to let go? And so a lot of the different exercises focus more on getting you in the body, what you are grateful for. It focuses on the abundance mindset. And so each of these are just little tiny little tweaks that we can start to do in our day-to-day lives that are honestly simple, but maybe you're not necessarily thinking about them if you're new to the concept of mindset work. So what I wanted to do is kind of just create this 25-day challenge that you can personally do. Start any day you want, and you can download the calendar below. I'm going to have a blog video about it, or a blog article about it, and talk a little bit more about what I've revealed here. And yeah, so in general, just enjoy the process of nurturing your mental health. And I think it's one thing I do want to say is, when it comes to mindset work, it's also about the body work too. And so that's why I included some forms of movement breaks and more of physical actions to take, because I think that's also another thing we can get bogged down. Like, honestly, I remember there was definitely times where I would just get wrapped up in doing the affirmations, journaling, writing, and then it was just I wouldn't take action. And that can also happen. And so I think incorporating mind-body rituals is incredibly powerful for your mental health. And I think this is like a simple thing that people often neglect. But the more that you're in the body, the more that you're tuned into the body, the more that you are connected to your intuition. And this is where you have better decision making. So that the more that you are connecting with mindset work and body work, as I reveal in the Mind Body Revolution series, you can start to see that you're not only operating from a full cup, but you're allowing yourself to be in the energy of full alignment with yourself, because you're releasing the monkey mind, you're nurturing your mental health, you're embracing your emotional health by honoring where you're at. And at the same time, you're also honoring your own body's needs. And because of that, this is what allows yourself to really be more in flow. And that's really what I'm getting at is, so when we work on our mental health, it really helps us enable more flow, more alignment, more positive awareness, more present awareness. And we start to release that overthinking mind and start to enable more of that present awareness thinking. So that's what the challenge is all about. So thank you for listening in on this very non-linear conversation on the challenge. And most importantly, I'm going to leave the challenge down below for you. And if you have any questions at all about mental health or mindset work, please reach out. It's one of my absolute specialties to talk on. And if you have any questions, leave them below. And I'll see you guys next time.